It's Tisha B'Av 2021, and Tisha B'Av, the 9th of Av in the Jewish calendar, is a day of mourning, a day of introspection, a day of sadness, where we commemorate many tragedies, and the two greatest tragedies being the destruction of the first and second temples in Jerusalem, Beis HaMikdash. The second temple was destroyed in 70 of the Common Era, and the first temple was destroyed in 586 BCE, before the Common Era, just to give you a bit of a timeline and conceptualization of the history and the native title of the Jewish people to the land of Israel and how far back that goes. So on this day, we read from the Book of Lamentations. It's called the Megillah Eicha. It's a prophecy from Jeremiah, which tragically discusses the destruction. And I was just thinking about this, and the first word, and the word that the Megillah is known by, is Eicha. Eicha, alas, woe. And it's really the name of the book. It's a lament, Lamentations. But there's another way to read this, and this is what one can do when we look at words in Hebrew, where we can play with the nekudas, the dots, the vowels, and even the sounds of the letters, and we can interchange them. So one can actually say, don't read this as Eicha, a lament, woe is me. Rather read it, Al Tikra Eicha, Ela, rather read it, Ayeka, where are you? So we put a little dot there and we changed the Chaf to a Kaf. Ayeka, where are you? And I think that is perhaps one of the messages of Tisha B'Av, where we are faced with a national collective destruction and tragedy. And we have to also ask, where are we, the individual? And how are we going to deal with this tragedy on an individual level? What is our role? But also coming to terms with our individual tragedies or individual traumas that we've dealt with, our own individual breaches of our walls of Jerusalem, our inner world, and our own destructions that we might face from time to time, and many of which are in the formative years of our life. Where are you? And this really, again, you're going to hear this again and again, comes down to the principles of IFS, Internal Family Systems, brought by Dr. Richard Schwartz, where we have this idea of an innate self, an untainted, healed, wholesome part that is courageous and curious and compassionate, and that no matter what destruction or exile that occurs, no matter the hurt that's within, we have this unsullied part of us that can have tremendous amount of healing. So on this day where we're coming to terms with the hurt and the destruction on a national level, on the macrocosmic level, but also on the microcosmic level, on the individual level, we come to terms with the trauma, the Eicha, the lament, but we also have to ask Ayeka, where am I? Where is the self that Ani, that we say every morning when we say Modeh Ani Lefanecha? And this is a very powerful concept. And the practical takeaway is that I really believe that IFS, the Internal Family Systems psychological model and principles and beliefs and teachings should be really taught as far and wide as possible, because they are extraordinarily powerful and extraordinarily healing. And these principles are available really readily. You can go for the free podcast to get your feet wet with Tim Ferriss and Richard Schwartz doing a session, and then go explore on Kindle or Audible and get the resources where we can come to terms with finding ourselves even amidst the destruction. Lastly, we come and say a lot in Jewish teachings that one of the causes, the national malaise that was leading to the destructions of the temple, was a lack of love, hatred between one another and the Jewish people. So the antidote and the solution to that, and what will ultimately bring the redemption, the Messiah, the Mashiach, will be baseless love. Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, as we say in Leviticus 19:18, loving your neighbor as yourself. However, that pasuk, that verse, really emphasizes the self-work we need to do. Ve'ahavta l'recha kamocha, I need to love my fellow like I love myself. Meaning, without understanding Ayeka, where I am, where myself is, without having that self-compassion, that self-love that comes from actualizing and dealing with self-energy and then bringing that to all the pain and the destruction and the exiles and the protectors that lie within, we cannot have true baseless love for another. Without love for ourselves and acceptance of ourselves, we can't have love and acceptance for others. So that perhaps is part of the work of Tisha B'Av. It serves as a watershed moment where we're dealing with the fast and we're dealing with the solemn prayers and we're dealing with the somberness of the day. But it's a time to go a bit deeper within ourselves and go, well, what work do we need to do with our self-energy so we can have it, actualize it within ourselves, but not stop there, to share it and bring it to the rest of the world. Like the light of the Beis Hamikdash, those lamps were lit within the Beis Hamikdash, within the temple, to radiate light outwards. Self-energy and enlightenment is not only for ourselves and for our selfish gain to meditate on some mountaintop or in some secluded temple. Self-energy is an energy that needs to be shared with the world. Because as Richard Schwartz talks and as Torah and Hasidus say, we need to have the individual redemption, the Geula Pratis. And then, please God, with that, we will bring the Geula Klalis, the general redemption, which will come through love. But we cannot have love for another without love for ourselves. And that is no more, or there is no arena where that is more important, rather, let me put it that way, than in the arena of intimate relationships. And what I'm talking about that, there is a marriage. So not only do I encourage people to go on this journey on an individual level with the IFS, I encourage people to go on this journey with a look at improving their most important relationship, their marriage. And there's a fantastic book, a fantastic resource that's available for all. You should get it from the IFS website directly, not on Amazon. You can get it in an ebook. And I'll put the link in the description below. It's called You're the One You've Been Waiting For by Richard Schwartz. It's a great look at where loving your fellow matters most in marriage. So this is really coming down to that fundamental question, and it's a repeated theme of these talks. Ayeka. We need to ask ourselves, where am I? Where's that inner energy? So I'm wishing everybody a meaningful Tisha B'Av for the rest of the day. I do owe you 2 more lessons for the parshas, they're coming. And I hope you can find a lot of meaning in the day, a lot of inspiration. And hopefully we can take the solemnness of the day and use it towards building self-energy that will then hopefully bring the Geula, Mashiach now, and love for all, love for the planet, love for our fellows, love for everything. So you all take care now. Bye.